I walked out of the store that day with over $300 worth of products, and I paid almost nothing. No shady apps, no glitchy coupon codes, and definitely no extreme coupon binder. Just one quiet trick I'd never tried before, and for some reason, no one ever talks about it. It wasn't flashy. It didn't feel like a hack. But once I saw how it worked, something clicked. And I've never looked at shopping the same way since. Most people think saving big money means spending hours planning, stacking dozens of coupons, or running all over town chasing deals. That's exactly what the stores want you to believe. They rely on the fact that you'll get overwhelmed or assume it's too complicated. But what if the biggest savings weren't buried behind effort at all? What if they were hiding in plain sight, and the only reason you're not using them is because no one's ever bothered to show you? In this video, I'm going to walk you through the exact moment I stumbled into this forgotten trick, how it saved me $347 in just one day, and why it still works quietly for people who know where to look. This isn't theory, it's real. And once you understand how simple it is, you'll wonder why no one's been talking about it. The strange part is, this trick isn't some big secret. It's not hidden behind a paywall or buried in a long-winded blog post. It's just something most people overlook because stores don't highlight it and employees rarely bring it up unless you ask the right question. What saved me that day was knowing you can combine in-store clearance prices with digital coupons and price adjustments at the register, even when it doesn't look like they'll stack. Most shoppers think clearance items are off-limits for extra discounts. The sign says final sale, so we assume that's the end of the story. But in many major retail chains, especially big box stores and drugstores, clearance items are still eligible for digital coupons. Some even allow post-purchase price matching if an item you bought recently drops in price. And here's the kicker. If all three happen on the same item, they don't cancel each other out. They stack, quietly, automatically. No one ever talks about this because it's not advertised. You won't find a banner in the aisle that says, "Combine with digital coupons for triple savings." You're just expected to grab the clearance tag and move on. But if you stop for a second, open the store app, and check for any matching offers, you might be holding the key to unlocking a discount the system never planned on giving you. This wasn't something I read online or learned from a deal forum. It happened by accident, and what made it even crazier, I nearly missed it altogether. I was in a rush that day, just planning to grab a few things and get out. No coupon hunting, no browsing, just in and out. As I passed the clearance rack, I spotted a familiar product marked down by almost 70%. It caught my eye, but I kept walking. I'd seen discounts like that before, and they never seemed to apply to anything useful. But something about this one made me stop. Maybe it was the brand, maybe it was the timing. I turned back. The product was still sitting there, marked $7.99, down to $3.49. Not bad, but nothing groundbreaking. I almost tossed it in the cart and walked away. But as I reached for it, an employee nearby was restocking another shelf. I asked casually if digital coupons worked on clearance items like this. I expected a shrug or a quick no. Instead, she leaned in a little and said, "Most people don't know this, but if the system doesn't block it, it'll go through. It happens more than you'd think." That one sentence changed everything. I opened the store app, searched the item, and sure enough, there was a $2 digital coupon sitting there. Not expired, not labeled, regular price only. I clipped it, and suddenly, that $3.49 item was now $1.49 before tax. I kept scrolling. Another item had a similar deal. Then another. Within 10 minutes, my cart was filling with clearance finds that quietly matched active digital offers, none of which were advertised in the store. If I hadn't stopped, if I hadn't asked, if I just grabbed that first deal and walked out, I would have saved a few bucks and never realized what I'd missed. But that wasn't the only twist, because what happened at checkout showed me just how deep this combo could really go. The real magic didn't hit until I got to the register. I'd clipped a few digital coupons in the app, just to test what the employee said. I expected maybe one or two to work, but as the cashier started scanning, something strange happened. Each item kept dropping in price, one after another. Clearance price, then coupon, then an extra discount I hadn't even expected. Turns out, the store's system didn't just honor the digital coupons. It auto-stacked them with clearance markdowns and triggered a limited-time price adjustment that was running in the background. It wasn't advertised, and the cashier didn't even comment on it. But as the total kept falling, I realized this wasn't luck. It was a pattern most people never notice. Here's what made it so powerful. The combo only worked because I layered three things: a clearance tag, a digital coupon, and a temporary in-app promotion that dropped prices even further if you used their loyalty number at checkout. I didn't need to argue. I didn't need to scan multiple coupons. I didn't even have to explain. The system just accepted it all. Most shoppers clip a coupon and move on. Or they grab a clearance item and assume that's the best they'll get. But when you combine the two, and especially when you add a time-sensitive price adjustment on top, it doesn't just lower the price, it crushes it. And the wildest part? Even the cashier looked surprised when the receipt printed. But the question that stuck with me after was this: why doesn't anyone else know about this? That answer, oddly enough, has nothing to do with how the system works, and everything to do with how we're trained to shop. Most people miss this trick not because it's complicated, but because it feels too simple to be real. We're trained to believe that big savings only come with big effort, cutting dozens of coupons, obsessing over flyers, joining weird forums. So, when something quiet actually works, we ignore it. Or worse, we assume we're not doing it right and give up before we try. Retailers don't exactly help either. They never advertise that clearance and digital coupons can stack. They don't promote hidden price adjustments in their apps. And they definitely don't remind you that digital offers sometimes still apply to already marked down items. The less you know, the more you pay. And that's not a bug, it's the business model. Even when you're at the checkout line, it's rare for a cashier to say, "Hey, this coupon will stack with your clearance item." Most don't know, or they've seen it so often that it doesn't even register. And since it doesn't show up in the sales ads or weekly emails, the average shopper just moves right past it. They're leaving money on the table, not because the deal isn't there, but because the system quietly teaches you to stop looking for it. This isn't about being an extreme couponer. It's about paying attention to what the store doesn't say out loud. And once you see how often these patterns show up, it becomes impossible to unsee. But there's another reason this trick slips under the radar, and it has everything to do with how stores manipulate your focus from the moment you walk through the door. Walk into any store, and you're already being steered, not with words, but with layout, lighting, and little signs that quietly shift your focus. The end-of-aisle displays? They're not there because the products are popular. They're there because those brands paid for that spot, knowing it's where your eyes go first. And when a 20% off tag sits right next to a full-price generic version that costs less even without the coupon, you won't notice. Because you weren't supposed to. That's the psychology of distraction. Coupons, especially flashy ones, are designed to pull your attention away from better deals. They create urgency. They anchor your thinking. Instead of comparing value, you start focusing on the discount itself and whether or not you're getting it. And just like that, you're no longer thinking like a shopper. You're reacting like a consumer being led. Stores know this. It's why they'll place high-margin items with digital coupons front and center, while the cheaper, better value options sit quietly off to the side, untouched. You think you're saving, but in reality, you're spending more, just a little more cleverly. The trick I used worked because it broke that pattern. Instead of following where the store was leading me, I paused. I scanned clearance racks most people ignore. I checked the app when it felt unnecessary. And I asked questions that most people skip. That shift in mindset exposed the real game. And when I finally saw the receipt, I understood just how much I'd been missing all along. I thought I had a rough estimate of what I'd be paying, maybe a modest discount here and there, enough to feel good about the haul. But when the cashier hit total, The numbers on the screen started dropping in real time. First a few dollars, then double digits, then unexpectedly more. The clearance markdowns kicked in first, then the digital coupons I had clipped, and finally a store-wide in-app discount that I hadn't even realized was still active. It felt like watching dominoes fall. One discount triggered another, which triggered another. And the best part? The system didn't fight it. It just worked. The items that should have totaled over $400 came down to just a little over $50. My receipt, no exaggeration, showed $347 in total savings. And I didn't do anything extreme. I didn't spend hours planning. I didn't use a burner email or sign up for shady reward apps. I just paid attention, made a few quiet moves, and let the system do what it was already built to do for the people who knew how to play it. Even the cashier paused when the receipt printed. She looked at the savings, then at me and said, "I've never seen someone do that before." Not because it was illegal, not because it was complicated, but because most people never try. Most people take the price they're handed, skin a coupon if it's obvious, and move on. But what happened at that register proved that Real savings don't require extreme effort, just a different way of looking at the game. And that's when it hit me. This works. So, why isn't anyone talking about it? The reason no one talks about it is because there's nothing flashy about it. No viral TikTok hack, no dramatic checkout stunts, no extreme coupon binder to show off. It's quiet, subtle, boring even, and yet it works better than most of the trending advice out there. The trick I use doesn't sell products or rack up affiliate links. It doesn't need an app to track rewards or a subscription to unlock premium discounts. It just requires a bit of awareness and the willingness to question what the store wants you to see. Retailers thrive on noise. They blast you with sales, limited-time offers, and flashy member-only perks to keep you distracted. And meanwhile, the simple stuff, the stuff that actually saves you money, is hidden in plain sight, waiting for someone patient enough to notice it. That's why this kind of trick rarely gets shared. It doesn't benefit the companies. It benefits you. And that makes it dangerous to their bottom line. So instead of promoting it, they let it sit quietly in the background. Occasionally, someone stumbles across it by accident, like I did, but most people, they just keep shopping the way they've been taught, thinking they're saving when they're really being steered. And the irony is, the most effective couponing move I've ever made didn't involve any trickery at all. It just involved stopping long enough to ask, what do they want me to see? Because once you understand that, you stop shopping on autopilot and start taking control of every dollar you spend. Most people assume that saving big money means working hard for it, clipping dozens of coupons, running between stores, or downloading every deal app out there. But the truth is, you don't need to do any of that. Sometimes, the smartest savings come from simply paying attention to what others overlook. The trick I used that day wasn't about outsmarting the system, it was about understanding it. I didn't do anything special. I just took a second to pause, ask the right question, and follow a path most people don't even realize exists. What surprised me most wasn't the $347 I saved. It was the realization that it had been possible this entire time. I just didn't know. And if no one ever shows you, how would you? That's why I wanted to share this with you. Not as some secret formula, but as a reminder that Real savings don't require being extreme. They just require being aware. The next time you're in a store, take a second, check the app, look for clearance, clip that quiet coupon. You might be shocked by what happens at checkout. If the story opened your eyes or gave you something new to try, I'd love to hear about it. Drop a comment below and tell me what you're going to look for next time you shop, or if you've ever had a moment like this yourself. And if you found this video helpful, please take a moment to like, subscribe, and turn on the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. Your support helps us keep sharing the stories and strategies that retailers would rather you never hear. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you in the next one.